Our attention now can shift to the men's race. And Eliud Kipchoge and Stanley Biwott, shoulder to shoulder. We'll have to wait to see if we do get any splits to see just how the second half of this race is going, just to repeat the splits that we picked up from the opening half. Well, they were well ahead of world record schedule. So as things stand, the latest pacing we have is that they're still on course for a world record, although that gap is narrowing. At the 2016 London Marathon, I think one thing for certain is we are going to see a course record. The question is, will it also be a world record? And which of these two outstanding Kenyan athletes will take the title? Eliud Kipchoge, seeking to retain the title he won 12 months ago. Stanley Biwott alongside him there, wearing the tangerine vest. The winner in New York, a man perhaps poised to step out of the shadow of more illustrious names and figures. What a day it would be for him to not just win in London, but also claim the world record. The evolution of the classic distance, 26 miles and 385 yards, may yet be about to take another step forward. Well, the forecast, Liz, coming in today were not great. Cold, even a prospect, even a promise at one point of hail and bitterly cold temperatures. Well, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but what we've seen over the last couple of hours has certainly warmed us up a bit.
Yeah, it has. And, you know, cool conditions are great for marathon runners. It means they can run fast without getting too overheated, especially when these guys are working so hard. So it's going to be, these are great temperatures for them. No wind, no rain, no hail and snow. So it's going to be great. And I think that's why there's a world record on the cards here.
And just to try and digest those latest splits that you have just seen, they are losing ground a little bit, having had a huge start at halfway, something like 20-odd seconds. Some of that advantage is being lost because Kipchoge was very fast in the second half in Berlin, which we know to be a very fast course. So they're losing a little bit of ground on that. So you could say, in terms of the world record, they are moving slightly in the wrong direction. So what happens now from here on in is absolutely crucial.
It is. They don't want to drop off the pace too much, although I think now they're going to start getting very competitive with each other as they go into the final stages of the race. They've probably only got another, 15 minutes left of racing, so the last mile is certainly going to be a quick one, I'd imagine.
Although you could say that there comes a point when competitive at some point, certainly not until that last mile, doesn't necessarily mean quicker. If they start looking at one another too much now, you could see maybe a little bit of a loss there in the tempo coming, although again, the counter argument to that is two men pushing one another along surely is rather better than one man who's been out there on his own and he's starting to tire, which Dennis Kipchoge will have been when he broke that world record in Berlin. But Kipchoge and Biwott, as things stand, you have to say, both men looking remarkably fresh.
They do. It's a hard one to call. They both look great going into the latter part of this race.
Well, the fastest ever London Marathon we've seen, Wilson Kipsang, when he won here in 2014, 2:04:27. I mean, that's going to be blown away by, well, could be 90 seconds, could be more than that. Certainly you would have thought a minute, whatever happens here. We're seeing the fastest ever London Marathon. And if you consider the evolution of this race, and it's meant as no disrespect to the men who ran these times, but Steve Jones, when he first won here back in 1985, so 31 years ago, 2:08:16. So he'd have been more than a mile behind at this stage. And then if we go through great names, Douglas Wakihuri, you might remember him, the Kenyan who won the world title in Rome in '87. He was the world's best marathon runner. 1989, he ran 2:09:03 to win here. Eamon Martin, brilliant exponent on the track. Friend of Eurosport, he won the race in '93. He ran 2:10:50. We had the period of Dionisio Serrano when he won 3 on the bounce, but never ran quicker than 2:08.30. These men here are potentially running faster than 2:03. We're talking almost a mile. That's how much faster they are running. 1 mile over 26, and that's almost impossible to comprehend, isn't it?
It is, it's crazy. But these guys, you know, they've been running under sub 2:5 over and over again. And, you know, they're just proving what they're capable of. And it's ideal conditions, you know, and often you don't get that in a marathon. It's very unusual for all the things to come together at the same time. No wind, you know, nice cool conditions, a great course, great support. If you're going to run a world record, today's a great day for it.
Yes, Martin Lell, when he recorded the 3rd of his wins. That's going back 8 years now. We thought he was taking the event into, well, at the time, he was taking it into another world. He ran 2:05. We're going to be running here, again, something like 600-700 meters faster than that, over a full marathon, and even over 2 hours. That is a long, long way when you are running close to 100% and at the level that these men are. So let's just sit back and enjoy one of the great jewels. 2 great East African athletes, both from Kenya. Stanley Biwott there on the left. Eliud Kipchoge, who, well, winner 12 months ago, wins here. He is the world #1, whatever any rankings might tell you.
These guys have surely got to be selected for the Olympic team for Kenya. This is what they're running here as well for today.
Yes, there's a lot at stake. And I think it goes without saying, and I'm not sure the old dollar signs necessarily appear in the eyes or even the peripheral vision of these men when they're running here, but the potential bonus, I think, on offer from those who organise the London Marathon will be rather eye-watering, should they break a record here, because the London Marathon is attributed and credited with many things. But I don't think anyone has yet told us this is the fastest course in the world. It may not be the fastest course in the world, but it could be elevated to that reputation if they can break a world record here. So Eliud Kipchoge, Stanley Biwott, into the long tunnel. They're into the city of London here. And this is where almost the lights go out. The sound goes, it must be quite eerie. It's all rather odd for these world-class men. They'll hear their own foot strikes. Liz Yelling and myself, Martin Gillingham, taking you through the conclusion of this 36th running of the London Marathon. And we have yet to learn who's going to win the men's race. Eliud Kipchoge, defending champion, on the right. Stanley Biwott, fellow Kenyan, on the left. They were on world record schedule to halfway, well ahead of it in fact, something like half a minute up on the world record. But the latest splits we're getting, Liz, suggest that they may be losing ground.
Yeah, it does seem that they're now running over 2:3 pace, just over 2:3 pace now. And that's, you know, got to be in direct relation to the first part of the race. It was so fast. They headed out in 2-hour pace, and they're paying the price for it a little bit now.
World record 2:02.57. The fastest time we've ever seen in London, 2:04.29. So that course record is going to be improved by more than a minute. I think we can be fairly certain of that. Whether we see now a world record, well, the prospects of that are receding. But now we have the gap, and Eliud Kipchoge is kicking on. The man who won a world title on the track 13 years ago in Paris is coming to the capital of London for the 2nd straight year, and he's on his way to a successful defence of that crown. The closer or the further away he gets here from Stanley Biwott, the more perhaps he can focus on trying to chase the clock. But Eliud Kipchoge, his own lifetime best, 2:04. So he's going to improve that by something close to a minute. And Kipchoge now is kicking on, and there's no doubt that when Dennis Kimetto broke that world record in Berlin, he was very, very fast indeed over the closing stages. It was a stunning last 10 kilometers or so he ran in Berlin. But here is Kipchoge showing the sort of leg speed that took him to so many victories on the track, and he's suddenly opened up a very big gap indeed, and he's yet to turn right into Parliament Square. But now, well, maybe he can pin his ears back and even try and target that world record, although the latest schedule suggesting that maybe he was almost 10 seconds or heading for 10 seconds off that mark. But who knows here? Still could be very tight. Kipchoge just stepping off the most direct route to take a drink. But you have to say, look how strong he is. There is no sign of him hurting at all here.
No, and earlier he looked like he was just gathering himself for the finish, you know, taking off his arm warmers, preparing himself for this final part of the race.
So 2:02:57 is the world record. And at the time, that was a huge world record. It improved Wilson Kipsang's mark by almost half a minute. Kipsang having run 2:03:23. So every chance here that Kipchoge, he's run 4:38 there for the last mile. There's no slowing up there. That right-hand turn will come very, very soon indeed. And it really can't come soon enough for those who are hoping here that we might see a world record, but fades, or hope's beginning to fade just a little bit. The National Theatre in the background there to the left, front of the eye. Oh, County Hall. And here goes Eliud Kipchoge. Can even afford himself a little bit of a smile, but he knows how hard this has been and just how quick he's had to run. It is certainly going to be one of the fastest marathons we've ever seen. May not be a world record, but he very swiftly opened up a 10-second gap, didn't he, on Stanley Biwott?
He did. It was like he just decided that was the moment he was going to go. It looked like he had it all planned, and he's executing his race plan.
So 1:12 as he runs past Big Ben.
Oh, he looks great.
Just a minute short of the 2-hour mark. Can he somehow scuttle the length of Birdcage Walk and then 200 or 300 meters back down the mile and do it all inside 3 minutes?
I wonder if anyone's telling him if he's on course for the world record.
Well, he's certainly getting plenty of encouragement. I'm not sure quite how articulate it is in terms of directing him in terms of times and what he needs to do to get down to the bottom end of Birdcage Walk, but there you can hear the chimes of Big Ben. High noon in the capital. Eliud Kipchoge just picking up the cadence again. It's now a huge gap back to Stanley Biwott. The first possible sign, the first hint of a grimace. It has been a tremendous run, hasn't it?
He has. He's looked strong and in control throughout the entire race.
So the clock ticks on now. That world record, 2:02:57. He's still got an awfully long way to go down Birdcage Walk. Just weaving a little bit on the road here. He's back onto the blue lines. Well, it's going to be the fastest ever London Marathon, that is for sure. 2:04:29. Wilson Kipsang. That from 2 years ago. Marathon running certainly has a new king here. For those who maybe thought that he wasn't quite the preeminent marathon runner in the world coming here, well, there can be in no doubt now. Well, here he is, 600 meters to go. Well, he's got to run almost the sort of cadence that he used to run the 5,000 meter race in. He's got to try and run 60-second lap pace. And that, even for this great man, I fear will be a little too much. It's almost certainly going to be just outside 2:03, isn't it?
It is, and that's a big shame, because it'd be wonderful to see him running the world record here at London, and for London to hold the world record. But it's still a great race, nevertheless. A fantastic performance.
Well, the marathon, in some respects, you describe as not a perfect race because it's never run over exactly the same course. It's not like an athletics track, so it's often wise to draw that form line, that comparison line across from other races on that course. And that 2:04.29 from Wilson Kipchoge, which was blisteringly quick when he did it and still is looking back now, well, that is being consigned to the dustbin.
Oh.
The run in now. He can see the finish gantry ahead. Little more than 100 meters to go. 2:02.57 is the world record. I fear it's just going to elude him. Look at him. He's kicking on here. He knows how close he is to it, but I fear he's just going to miss it. 2:02.57 has passed. It's going to be the second fastest marathon we've ever seen. 2:03.05. Course record by well over a minute. A brilliant performance. And that, you'd have to say, if we consider that point about comparing performances across other performances on the same route, it isn't a world record, but frankly, that is as good, if not better, than any marathon run we've ever seen.
Absolutely, and on this course as well, it's a fantastic course record for London. He set the bar higher, and he did it in style. He looks so great and in control.
So Stanley Biwott, he's going to break the old course record by a big margin.
A big PB for him as well.
Second man to have ever broken 2:04 in London.
Over a minute off his best.
So Kenya 1, Kenya 2. It is Kenya's morning in that great fight between the two outstanding East African nations. Well, I mean, here comes the realization, one of his achievements, perhaps that small bit of disappointment that he hasn't quite broken the world record. Well, you would have thought there will be somebody from, perhaps, dare I say, the Berlin Marathon, waving a pen, a contract and a checkbook at him before the end of the day. Yes, Eliud Kipchoge. When you consider what he's done here, and it is an outstanding achievement. It's a very, very busy year ahead. Of course, he will want to go on. There's old David Bedford. Man who's done so much for this race, the old Shaftesbury Harrier, former world record holder himself.
You won the top three, are you happy with
So in the latest episode of the Great East African Rivalry, well and truly Kenya's day. Kenenisa Bekele. An outstanding performance from him, and in the end, I suppose, those injury concerns did ultimately find him out. But it hasn't been a bad run, has it?
No, it's not a bad run at all. Third place at the London Marathon when you're unfit, that's not too bad.
Yes, I placed that word unfit inside two pairs or a pair of very sizable inverted commas.
Yes.
A relative term. But for this man, when you consider what he's achieved, 12:37 man at 5,000 meters, even run a 3:32 1500. He's got leg speed, which even Eliud Kipchoge couldn't match, but over the full distance has been found out. Yes, Kennedy Sebekele, one of the fiercest competitors you'll ever find on a track. So there's the picture, the 1, 2, 3. Eliud Kipchoge, back-to-back winner in London. Stanley Biwott, a near miss for him, the New York Marathon champion from last year. And then on the left, Kennedy Sebekele, who I think it would be reasonable to say is rather forcing a smile. Here comes the world champion, Gername Gebrselassie of Eritrea. Looked good for so long. Big future though, he's only just turned 20. And then Wilson Kipsang coming through in 5th. There he is. On the day, his course record disappeared, and, well, I think inevitably one or two question marks about Wilson Kipsang. Has his era come to an end? Certainly will be the question asked of Dennis Kometo. Kipsang, what a wonderful career he's had, but this has been a morning when he didn't win the race and he lost his course record. Yes, I don't think Kennedy Sebekele is necessarily enjoying that, is he?
No, he probably would have wanted to do more, and you know, I don't think he would have been over the moon with that performance. He's still got to pose for the photographs, though.
Well, I think this is about a Kumar coming in. Certainly one of the Ethiopian athletes just bounding round that final bend. It really is a stunning backcloth, isn't it? Something that maybe those of us from the UK rather take for granted.
Yeah, we have beautiful buildings, and Buckingham Palace as your backdrop to your finished photo. How about that?
It's not bad, is it? So more men coming through. Well, he's just about making the top 10.
That's Callum Hawkins for Great Britain coming in.
Well, he's got a lifetime best of outside 2:12. So he's on his way to a lifetime best here, probably by a good minute. It's been a good performance.
He's potentially booked his place to Rio. Well done, Callum.
Yes, he's round about top 10 as well, isn't he?
That's a fantastic run.
And I think it would be fair to say that since the vintage eras of the Jones, the Speddings,
Yep.
British men's marathon running has been rather in the doldrums, but this is certainly an achievement, something to celebrate. Inside 2:11, lifetime best by almost 90 seconds.
Brilliant. Callum looks like he's just booked his ticket to Rio. A fantastic run and a new British name in marathon running.
So Callum Hawkins, we have our first Briton across the line. And he, I think, bar the shouting, on his way to the Rio Olympics in August. So there it is, the end of a marathon day. We've seen stunning finishes, particularly in the wheelchair race. I thought that was a brilliant finish. David Weir in the end just falling short. Dennis Scometto just coming across the line and, well, just inside 2:12. Is that the same man who ran inside 2:03? You do have to wonder. And in years gone by, this would have come close to winning the race. Not in 2016, but we have seen some stunning runs. I must say the conclusion, just to repeat myself, of that men's wheelchair race, perhaps the most exciting finish of the day. The women's race, well, in the end, a story to tell there for the new champion, Jemima Sumgong. She hit the deck at a crucial part of the race, banged ahead, but got up to win the race. And in the end there, Eliud Kipchoge, which in world-class terms simply was head and shoulders above anything else we've seen today. But Liz, it's been a pretty good morning, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been great. It's great to see some British athletes have some good races. Another British athlete coming down here. Derek Hawkins for Britain. Previous best of 2:14. Be close to that. Yep, a good, great PB for Derek Hawkins as well, just dipping under 3:13.
Right, so we've had a C Hawkins, a D Hawkins. I wonder if there's an E Hawkins out there. Perhaps that's the next logical athlete across the line. But a couple of decent runs there for Britons. So let's just wrap up the results here. Marcel Hug, what a finish that was. Kurt Fernie coming through in second. David Weir got himself in the right position, but in the end couldn't deliver the winning effort. He was there in third, and Ernst van Dijk, the old veteran from South Africa, coming through in fourth place. Here's the women's wheelchair race. Tatiana McFadden had to dig deep to hold off Manuela Schär there of Switzerland in second place. Amanda McGrory of the United States came through in fourth. Women's elite race. Well, that graphic doesn't really tell the story. Jemima Sumgong, that tangle of feet and arms which saw her hit the ground. Mary Katani also going down. And in the end, Sumgong, well, she got up, dusted herself down, and she beat last year's winner, Tigges Tufa, by 5 seconds. And then the world-class performance of the day. And in the end, look at that, huge win. Opening up 46 seconds over the course of the last 2 miles there for Eliud Kipchoge. He successfully retains his title. He's set a new course record in London, and that is the second fastest marathon we've ever seen.